Welcome back for another top-notch video this week, guys. We're talking through the 3rd of September through the 7th of September. As always, we're talking about the TSP, Roth IRA, brokerage accounts. We basically go over the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, international markets, and bonds. For TSP folks, that's the CSI and F funds. For Roth IRA and 401k folks, that's going to be IVV, ETF, VXF, EFA, and AGG. As always, we go over a very general overview, then more specific, then go into our allocations. So for this for this first week, guys, we did see charts go down quite a bit. It was towards our advantage. We thought this was kind of overextended up here, especially for the S&P 500 or the C fund slash IVV, and did come off of those highs. Keep in mind that we do have the bottom of this trend line pretty low. We haven't seen that since July. And we're getting right around our first moving averages. We'll have to wait and see where that is, and we'll just continue on with some of our charts of where we think that will go. We have some open gaps that need to be filled, so we could possibly see it fill this open gap down here towards the 2840 line, and there's even one even farther down on the 2760 line. These charts are all pulled from TSP Talk. There's a guy named Tom that does comments on that. All the things can be found on his website. It's www.tsptalk.com. With the S fund or VXF, that fund started to decline as well. Again, at the very top of the range. We'll have to see where that goes following into next week. But I could see it coming down towards the support line, and we'll just have to wait and see where it goes. Finally, with EFA or the I fund, we did see that drastically decrease. We are in a bear market with this fund. We have a line that's slightly coming down here. We did have a gap that was filled, but I wouldn't be surprised if we hit off this bottom trend like we did the last two times and then make a lower high here. Not a place really to have funds at this time. AGG, we did see a decrease as well. Nothing too fancy. It's in its trends box, just bouncing back and up. Overall, coming up, but not another place to have money at this time. That's a very general overview of our markets. This was the chart for the week for TSP. As you can see, for the CS and I fund or IVV, VXF, and EFA, the charts were pretty bad. We lost almost 1% in the C fund, 1.5% in the S fund, and almost 3% in that I fund. Keep in mind that I fund is almost negative 5% for the year. Quite a different story from 2017. And these are where we're sitting overall for our funds. Top notch is sitting right around 12%. So we are doing very well with that for the most part. And it's just exciting that we are ahead of all markets. That being said, let's go into another very general analysis of something else we saw. This is the C fund, IVV again, and what we saw here is it's starting to come off its, as you can see, we have this long-term trend line here that goes all the way back to 2016, and we haven't hit that at all. We bumped into it a few times, never closed below it, and we could possibly come down and revisit that line. We'll have to see. I think there's a lot of support at the 2800 line. I don't think we'll come all that far down, but as you can see on this indicator here, we are starting to come back down, which is one that we tend to follow, and we did have a decrease on our RSI. That being said, let's take a look at what we got for the S fund. The S fund or VXF, as you can see, we had a decline as well. We are moving down here. The indicators have even room to move further, so keep that in mind. We didn't break this top here, and we are coming back down to the negative. Usually when we strike the negative, it's got a pretty positive reversal on that. We haven't hit that yet. We could see another week of probably weakness. And then, of course, we have the I fund, which is in the negative now. Probably see a sharp bounce up until it hits something right below. It's that 6870 line, and then decline once again. So that being said, let's go into a more technical analysis of each one of these charts. This is IVV or the C fund. As you can see, it's starting to hit its first moving average here, but we're still well within our lines. They redrew these lines for this week, so that's a good thing. I don't think we'll see this come down. Like I said, this 2080 line, I really don't think we'll see that. There's just too much support here, but we'll see. I could definitely see it coming down to 285, possibly. So that's quite a ways down, but that is a possibility since it's in that trend line. The last time we saw it hit that trend line was back in July, like I said. and we'll have to see just what happens. If we look on it from a technical analysis over here, we have some very interesting things happening. So we closed the first week lower on our trend analysis line. That is a big sign to stay out of the fund for now. So we were at 4.28, and then we dropped to 3.91. Now the last time this happened, it was a fake out, and we had some great up moves in July and August. Typically, a double fake out for a weekly chart is kind of rare. We will keep a close eye on our 2-day chart to ensure that we don't miss anything. But as you see on our 2-day chart, the blue line is about to go below the red line, and we are declining here as well, as along with our price action. So interesting to see where this will go. Like I said, I think we'll have another negative week for next week, but we'll have to wait and see. Finally, on a 4-hour chart, we look like we're coming out just barely, but I wouldn't trust the 4-hour chart. I would stick with the 2-day, and since we're ahead of all markets, we'll probably get in when the 2-day starts to increase a little bit. That being said, let's move to the S fund or VXF. With that, we did break through a trend line here. They probably need to redraw these. We are breaking through moving averages, and I do not know where we could go with this. I suspect probably the lowest we'll see is we're hitting this 50-day moving average. That's the last time we hit that was sometime in August, so I'm assuming we'll hit that again in September. We'll have to wait and see. If we look at our charts for VXF or the S fund, we ended up with a weekly chart of 1.50 last week and 1.50 this week. So just dead even on the charts. So we look to the 2-day when we're confused about the weekly. And just like the C fund or IVV, we're seeing quite a decrease in the charts. That blue line's about to come under that red line. We haven't seen that now for a little while, and the charts are starting to decline by a large margin, as you can see with price. Let's go to international markets. With international markets, as you can see this last week, September, we had a massive decline. We hit the bottom here. The last time we hit the bottom, it had a sharp reversal. We think that it will continue probably to do another sharp reversal somewhere above the moving averages and then continue on its decrease as this market is in a decline. And if we look at it from a chart perspective, EFA, as you can see from the weekly chart, we were coming out, and then we had a weekly fake out. Usually weekly fake outs happen for 1 to 4 weeks, and they tended to be pretty violent and volatile. They tend to last a while. On a 2-day chart, we are below here, and we're seeing massive decrease. Not a place to have your money at this time. And last of all, let's look at bonds. So we have AGG. As you can see, we're at the bottom of our trend line here. This trend line has lasted all the way since May. And we'll probably see some increasing here, but according to what we have on our charts, we are also seeing a major decline on the weekly chart and also on the 2-day chart. So another place to just kind of keep your money out of. So when all charts look bad on the weekly chart, which as you can see for the S fund or VXF, we're dead even, EFA or the F fund, or I'm sorry, I fund, and then the F fund or AGG, and the C fund and IVV. As you can see, all charts are in a decline right now. When we see that, that's a signal for us to kind of take a look at the markets and just evaluate what is going on with them before we have our money or capital in harm's way. And that's exactly what we did. We pulled the money into the G fund before the month of September, so we are currently in the G fund. We thought we'd move over pretty quickly, but I think we're going to wait this out. We're going to wait for those 2-day charts to look a little better. Here are the 2-day charts for the C fund and for the S fund, for the I fund, and for the F fund. Nothing looks that favorable at this time for that, so I think we'll continue with our G fund allocation at least for a little while. And as you can see, that's where we currently sit, with new funds going into the S fund. And that pretty much makes up our weekly video. My question is for you guys, how long do you think this little downturn will last? Do you think it'll be a 1% downturn, 2% downturn? We're already at a 1% downturn. So where do you think it'll go from here? And I just appreciate your guys' support. Please like, subscribe, or share to the channel. And that's another top-notch video. We'll see you guys next time.